the shelter we stayed in last night at Cedar Point Shelter. It was wet last night, so we had a nice dry spot to stay, and it worked out great. It got cold. The trail coming up to the shelter, and the mountains on the other side, up to Algonquin and some of the other peaks. Nice blue sky today. It's Monday morning. This is Lake Colden. Just coming from camp. Looking up toward Algonquin peaks. Gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Looks like it's going to be a nice day. We're going to go up Colden Peak and then head back toward the truck. Tim up a real long ladder. Goes way up there. This is the longest ladder we've seen. Awesome. Coming up another set of stairs. Trail is slippery, but so far so good. Not too bad. Hey everyone, continuing on in the book of Esther, looking in chapter 5, 6, and a little bit from chapter 7, a few verses. Chapter 5 and verse 14. Then said Zeresh, his wife, that is Haman's wife, and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made. Again, divine providence. Esther had not yet revealed who she was and what the purpose of her banquets were. And that night, because of the delay, the king couldn't sleep. In chapter 6, verse 1, it says, on that night could not the king sleep. And he commanded to bring the book of the records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. Sometime before, Mordecai had revealed this plot against the king, but nothing was done for Mordecai, even though he had revealed that. And so here the king reads of what had happened. He asks if anything had been done to Mordecai, and nothing had been done for him. And so a little farther on in chapter 6, Haman comes in before the king, obtains favor. The king reaches out the scepter. Then a little farther on in chapter 6, in verse 6, so Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now, of course, Haman thought the king was speaking of him. Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than myself? And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the streets of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate, let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. And so the wicked Haman, thinking the king was speaking of him, sets up this grand thing to be done to the person that the king would honor. And it was for Mordecai. And the beginning of the fall of Haman is here. And his family, when he goes back and tells them what fell on him this night, they say, you have begun to fall before Mordecai. And sure enough, his own trap, that gallows that he had built, will find that he is hanged on the same gallows himself. And so with that, hope you have a great night, everyone. We'll look a little further into the story with the next video. Praise the Lord.